Welcome back, guys. We are back like we never left. Yet again, another episode of DME Podcast, and I am so excited. I am honestly excited to be back right here to have these heart-to-heart conversations that I usually have with you guys. This past 3 weeks was actually a whole lot. A lot went on, and I am so thankful that God helped me through it. It was a time where I needed a lot of focus. I needed a lot of you guys, those of you who know, and for those who do not know, it was actually a lot. But then help me thank God for the success of the 3 weeks. How are you? I hope you have been fine. I hope that while I was away, you were busy implementing. I am believing that the person or persons that I left 3 weeks ago are better versions of themselves. I would be moving right into what I would be discussing on today, and I am going to make sure that it is as short as possible because, of course, this is a welcome back, right? Let's not do too much. Anyway, so in the course of the holiday, my mind was open to something, and the thing is, of course, you know what we do here is personal development, and we've talked a lot about skills. We've talked about job applications, getting opportunities, how to source for opportunities, and all of that. Now let's talk about something about our character, or should I say something more, should I say invisible or something. Now, this is how it came to my mind, that the kind of adult you as a person would turn out to be, because if you look today in these our days, you would agree with me that there are people that you look up to. You might not necessarily have a mentor, but there are people that when they speak, you love to listen to them. And for a lot of us that are very conversant with social media, for example, like Instagram or TikTok and all of that, there are people whose videos you would watch and you'll be like, wow, this person is making a whole lot of sense. And then some of us even go as far as forwarding their videos. Some of us go as far as saving it. Some go as far as resharing it and all of that. Now, a huge reason why you are able to admire such persons, draw knowledge or draw inspiration from what they have said or what content they have been able to put there is because they worked on themselves. Just like the popular saying that says, you cannot give what you do not have. I think I was in a conversation with someone some time ago, and one of the things the person said was that there are certain people that they don't listen to. Now, I'm not saying that we should listen to everybody, but then I'm putting this out here to drive home a point. Now, the kind of adult that you would turn out to be depends on the kind of teenager that you are now, or the kind of youth that you are now, or what you do with your life as a young person. You would not automatically, because there are some of us that feel like, okay, because I am young now, of course I have time. When I am older, I'll definitely be wiser, I'll definitely be smarter, I'll definitely turn out good, I'll definitely turn out nice. There are a lot of adults out there today who are clueless about life. Of course, they would have experiences. Of course, they might be more mature, but then they're not in a position where younger generations will look at them and be like, oh, I love this person. I love how she speaks. You would believe that. You see a lot of content out there today, for instance, and it is not everybody's post you share. And that is for the online space. Even physically, there are adults that you would meet and you do not admire them. There's nothing really special about them. But you want to be that special adult or that special grown-up that would probably someday talk and people would want to listen to and all of that. But then you are not doing anything to build your mind. At the point where, or in a place or in situations where you are in a conversation that you feel like, okay, this is not what I usually hear. This doesn't feel good in my tummy. And quickly you zone out. Quickly you find a way to excuse yourself from such conversations, especially maybe when it's something intellectual or something that is challenging the norm that you know, or things that maybe the conversation is just making you uncomfortable. And every time you're in such situations, what you try to do is to zone out or you try to run away. That way you cannot grow up to be an adult that has stamina. There are some adults that you might start talking to them and then they start feeling victimized. They start feeling you cannot take criticism. You cannot stand someone saying something from a different point of view. If you're going to be an adult that is wise, If you're going to grow up to become wise, if you're going to grow up to become someone that people probably listen to, it might not necessarily be that you become popular or you become so great in the media space. It might just be in your corner where you are. If you want to be someone that grows up to be wise, you have to start doing that from this point. Things that I decided to do, should I say a few years back or some time ago, is that I decided that, okay, because I realized that I was someone that I become emotional, or I become sad or something, or I become triggered or attacked when someone is sharing an idea or a talk that challenges my mind, or that makes me feel maybe small or not intellectual or whatever, if that English tallies. And so what I realized that I used to zone out, or I run away from such conversations and all of that, and you understand, just to lie to myself and to make myself feel good. But then I realized that is not the path of wisdom. And one of the things that I deliberately started to do, and I still currently do, is to put myself in a place to put myself in conversations or in an environment where my intelligence, where what I know is challenged. I listen to other people's perspectives. I listen to what people have to say, whether it's in line with my point of view or not. I have learned to sit in that place where I am uncomfortable and let people speak. And then at the end of the day, I can sit and decide, okay, is this something that I want to go with? I'm not saying that you have to put yourself in everything. There are some conversations, or there are definitely situations where you really have to excuse yourself. But I'm talking about intellectual conversations. I'm talking about something that is probably challenging the way that you think, that can actually be of help to you, that might feel uncomfortable. What I'm saying in essence is, I have learned to put myself in places where that exposes, in a way, should I say, exposes my weakness, or that helps to strengthen my weaknesses or something, or that helps to improve my knowledge, something like that. And so now I'm not in that situation where, so now if, for instance, I am being criticized, or if my point of view is being challenged, I don't feel uncomfortable. Of course, as a human being, you would feel some discomfort or something, but then I have built myself to the extent where I can sit down and hear this person talk. I can sit down and hear this person share their point of view. I can sit down and take correction and not lose my self-esteem. There are some of us that run away from conversations. We run away from people because if they start to say certain things, or if they start to touch certain areas of our lives, we lose our self-esteem. We feel like we're not enough. We feel like this and that. And you grow up to be that kind of adult, such that you cannot work in a team, you can't work with people, you cannot be corrected without feeling like as if you're being victimized, or should I say negatively criticized, and all of that. You cannot take feedback. And so if you want to become an adult, and aside from that aspect, for you to become wise as a person, you must be open to consuming content, learning from people, of course, being in that place where you have those intellectual conversations, where you were reading those books that really opened up your mind. But if you make yourself small as a young person now, you will grow up to be that adult that even young people or generations younger than you cannot look up to or ask certain questions. So if you're a young person out there and what your mind is set out is you like being comfortable, there are certain people you don't listen to. There are certain people you don't talk to. There are certain people you don't associate with because they kind of make you small, or you feel like they are too hard, like they come off or they come out too hard. All of those things would not help you. If you want to grow up to be, of course, I'm also a young person. I'm just letting you know that, okay, these are things that you can actually do to build yourself, which is a very important and a key part of personal development. You want to deliberately listen to people, especially people whose point of view is different from yours. That way you can have knowledge about a lot of areas in life, and also you would be able to stand whatever it is that is being thrown at you, because of course you do not know what God is preparing you for in future. And aside from that, some of you are young persons, of course you're looking to probably get married, probably start maybe a business and all of that. At these points in life, you will face different situations, you face different challenges, and the backbone that you build now from letting yourself be in certain situations or certain places is what is going to help you pull through. And so if you are the kind of person that you move like a snail, I'm not talking about in the speed of a snail now, I'm talking about, a snail, if a snail is going and you poke it, it rolls into its shell, and then it takes a very, very, very long time, or it takes a while before it crawls out again. So if you move like a snail now, you wouldn't be an adult that would have backbone. You understand? So I would like to encourage you to learn to listen to people, learn to listen to hard conversations. Understand that your self-esteem as a person is not attached to what anyone has to say. It's okay that I listen to you regardless of what you're saying. Of course, I said it that there has to be a balance in all of this. There are situations where truly you have to excuse yourself, but then that I'm not saying that you should be a coward. There are actually situations where it's good that you stay and hear what the other person has to say. There are situations where you deliberately watch content, you watch videos that is not something that you actually probably buy into all the time. And so you want to put yourself in that kind of place a lot of times, and so that you are able to build and grow. You are being able to be nurtured in the right way or in the right direction. So this is what I have come to say today. And the other part of this conversation is the part where a lot of us do not like to be corrected. For me, as someone who used to hate to be corrected, as a repentant, how do I put English? As someone who used to hate being corrected, one of the things that, by the help of God, that I have learned is that if someone deems it fit to correct me or show me a different light into what I believe is probably right, that is coming from a place of love. That means that person loves me. Of course, you have the ability to discern if someone is correcting you from a place of love or if the person is just trying to put you down. Now, I'm saying in the right scenarios or in the right situations where someone actually looks at you and says, okay, this thing that you are doing is not right. You can do it this way, you can do it that way. Do not be that young person that interprets correction, which is also in line with someone having a different perspective or a different view from what you think. Do not view it as hatred. Do not view it as someone trying to put you down or lower your self-esteem. Just like I want to say, or as I have said before, do not attach your self-esteem to things. Do not attach, for instance, let's say you feel like your self-esteem is 100 when you're wearing or when you're dressed a certain way, and then you feel absolutely useless when you are not dressed in a certain way. Do not attach your self-esteem to things. And so whether someone says this or says that to you should not affect your self-esteem as a person. That would be a talk for another day. But then what I'm trying to say is, as a young person, see correction as something that is good and not something that is bad. Always interpret it that if someone deems me worthy to correct me, that means that person actually cares about me. Because if someone doesn't care about you and says that you're about to fall into a ditch, they will just stand there and watch you fall while smiling at you or smiling with you. But then it is someone who loves you that would say, if you keep going in this direction, there is a chance that you would fall into that ditch. And then you take a U-turn and then life becomes better, or you become saved from that situation. I want you to view correction as that. And so there are different paths, like as we journey in life as individuals, we're going to be meeting different people at different times. One of the things that I say to myself is, no matter how harsh this correction might come, no matter how uncomfortable I feel, it's better that I stand there and you are saying it, and I am feeling my eyes hot with tears, or my eyes is turning red, or I am so uncomfortable, or I feel so bad, or maybe embarrassed. It's better I stay there and actually get what you were saying, and then probably get home and cry over it, and then pray about it, and then change, than for me to stay there defending myself, trying to change the topic and all of that, and at the end of the day, I lose on both sides. So these are some of the principles that I now live by as someone who used to struggle with some of these things. And I believe that these things might be peculiar to young people, especially because I am in an environment, or I'm usually in a place where I'm surrounded by young people, and I'm able to see, okay, this is how people react to this kind of things. This is how young people actually tend to think or see things. I hope you understand. Anyways, of course, in as much as This is something that I have said. I know that it might not apply to everyone, but then as a young person, I'd like to say that you want to take life easy and you want to be deliberate about who you are growing to become, because being an adult of quality, being an adult that is outstanding in future is not something that just drops on you. You have to be intentional about building yourself into that person. The reason why someone can become a financial consultant, for instance, is because they've spent time studying finances, understanding things around that particular area. They don't just become financial consultants suddenly. And so if you want to become an adult of quality, do not think that time is going to make you into that. It is what you begin to do to yourself right now as you are young that compounds up to the kind of adult that you would become. And so this is what I have come to share today, and I'm hoping that someone out there listens and benefits from this. Again, my name is Omomi. If you have questions, you can send a message to the number that is attached in the description, or you can send an email to aboutthevoice@gmail.com. This podcast is brought to you by About the Voice. And we say that you are number one.